I love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
Hey, what's poppin', my homies? Hope you're doing well, feeling blessed, having a good day, having a good week. This one's going to be Carlos Prates versus Magny in the main event. And before we get into making predictions, breaking down fights, all that good stuff, we look at my bets from last weekend. And I had 6 bets. 6 bets last weekend. And I won half of them, which wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. I lost 0.21 of a unit, which is a £41 loss. So not a massive loss. Not a massive loss that we can cry about. But yeah, we won half of them, lost the other half. And guys, Marc-Andre Barriault, that's the one, man. That's the one that I'm so disappointed with. Because in my breakdown I mentioned, Marc-Andre Barriault, his durability is kind of the process. You know, he'll kind of take the punches and you'll kind of slow down because of that. And I also mentioned that Dustin Stoltzfus doesn't have the same slip and rip counter boxing as Chris Curtis. And I also mentioned he doesn't have the same Muay Thai as Chidi Njokwani. But he still sleeps Marc-Andre Barriault. And that's just phenomenal. You know, so disappointed with Marc-Andre Barriault. But then you're looking at Aaron Blanchfield, who was 2 rounds down. And I mentioned in my breakdown, if this fight stays on the feet, it's a mismatch. You know, Rose Namajunas, she's a minus 500. She's a minus 600 on the feet. And she does show that, you know, for 2 rounds. She does show that. But then Erin Nurmagomedov, she activates. She activates. And she wins that fight. And also looking at Pedro Munoz, which was an underdog. Not too happy with that play. You know, the jab of Zahabi. It was money. And I also had Emir Albazi, which was a very risky play, but it was plus money, so we went for it. We had Charles Jourdain, and I said, look, he's lost fights. He's lost to Gene Silva. He's lost to, you know, broomstick build Sean Woodson. You're not going to lose to 37-year-old Victor Henry. I said that. And he went in there, man. He showed it. Good stuff. And we also had Cody Gibson. Oh, yeah, Zalal. We had Zalal. Guys, Zalal getting a stoppage. Oh my goodness. Madness. Pure madness. But yeah, 6 bets. Won half of them. Lost the other half. And it's 0.21 loss of a unit. So not a massive loss. But yeah, let's go. Let's go. And guys, just because this card is so dusty. It's such a dusty card. I'll see you for a smoke break midway through the card. Alright guys, let's go. Now moving to the first matchup of the card, we've got Tresean Gore taking on Antonio Trocoli. And this one's going to be very low level matchmaking. You've got Tresean Gore, who's had 6 professional fights and hasn't fought in 2 years. Then you've got Trocoli, who's had 16 professional fights. But when you look at his skills against Sharamagomedov, there's not really much you like about Trocoli. You know, he's standing tall with his chin in the air. He's not really throwing his hands too much. He's kind of stationary. There's not really too much I'm liking about Trocoli. But then again, he shouldn't be inside the octagon with Sharamagomedov. Now, obviously, fighting Tresean Gore, that's not the same level as Sharamagomedov. You know, Tresean Gore, 6 professional fights. He got knocked out by Cody Brundage. This fight here, it's very low level. Now, I do like the power of Tresean Gore. And I did predict him as an underdog against Josh Fremd. And I'd kind of have to side with Tresean Gore to win this fight. But in terms of betting, you know, the betting line it's not really worth it on Tresean Gore. So putting Tresean Gore minus 180, minus 190, even up to minus 200, you can't really agree with it. But looking at Antonio Trocoli, looking at his skill set, there's not much I'm really seeing in his skill set. I'm not really seeing him score against Tresean Gore. Maybe he clinches up against the fence because that's kind of what he done against Sharamagomedov. But then again, Sharamagomedov, with the footwork and the speed, you kind of clinch up with that guy. You know, you don't strike too much with Sharamagomedov. Against Tresean Gore, though, you want to strike with Tresean Gore. If Cody Brundage can find a KO, then if Trocoli just lets his hands go, then he might find a knockout. But we'll see. I'm going to side with Tresean Gore, but no bets. You know, minus 180, minus 200, no way. Now moving into a matchup between Cortavious Romious taking on Gaston Bolanos. And guys, I actually bet on Cortavious Romious on the contender. I had a parlay with Torres Finney and Cortavious, and yeah, that was a winner. Now, Cortavious' performance on the contender, his speed was there. You know, his speed was good. The power. He nearly found a KO stoppage at one point. but he kind of coasted. You know, towards the end of that fight, kind of coasted. And that's something you don't want to do against Gaston Bolanos. And the reason why you don't want to do that, Gaston Bolanos kind of fights like he's sparring. You know, he's got really good Muay Thai technique. The Muay Thai is there. You know, he'll throw the kicks, and the kicks are so technical. But the problem with Gaston Bolanos is he doesn't really throw his techniques to cause damage. And that's what you want to do. You know, when you go to the octagon, you're not just trying to, you know, throw the techniques to throw them. You want to throw them to cause serious damage to the opponent. And Gaston Bolanos kind of doesn't do that. You know, he'll throw to throw. It's like he's sparring. And anytime you fight someone like that, you don't really want to show the judges, look, we're both sparring. You want to show the judges, I'm here to cause damage. My opponent's here to spar. And if Cortavious Romious goes in there to really cause damage against the opponent, I think he's going to win the fight. If he goes in there, has a good first round, then starts to slow down, then starts to coast, then starts to, you know, spar a little bit with Gaston Bolanos, then the underdog, he may look good. If you're Cortavious Romious, don't spar. You're not sparring with Gaston Bolanos. So guys, for me personally, I'm going to side with Cortavious Romious. And that's just based on Gaston Bolanos. He kind of looks like he's sparring. There's not too much impact. There's not too much damage on the side of Gaston Bolanos. Whereas Cortavious Romious, like I say, on the contender, he nearly finds a stoppage. So if he fights in round 2, the same way he fights in round 1, if he fights hard in this fight, doesn't slow down, doesn't start to spar with Gaston Bolanos, stays causing damage to the opponent, then he's going to win this fight. So my prediction, give me Cortavious Romious. Now moving into a matchup between who we got. We've got Cody Stamann taking on Blackshear. And guys, this is going to be a fight where if you're Cody Stamann, you've kind of got to win the fight. And if you're Blackshear, you've got to do the same thing. You've got to win. Because when you're looking at Blackshear, he got dusted by Montel Jackson. You know, the fight starts and the fight's just done. Now, if you're Cody Stamann, if you lose, you've lost 6 of your last 8, which is, you know, that's not good. Looking at this fight, Cody Stamann, his wrestling's good, his boxing, his pressure, that's all good, and his experience. But recently, he's not been winning. Then you're looking at Blackshear, who does have power in the hands, and his wrestling's good, and also his jiu-jitsu. His jiu-jitsu, man. You know, it's there to see. So guys, the matchup here, it's kind of difficult to pick. I know the betting line says Blackshear minus 250, something like that. But yeah, is he really a minus 250? He's coming off a bad knockout loss to Montel Jackson. He doesn't have the experience over Cody Stamann. Is he really a minus 250? Probably not. But does he win the fight? Probably. You know, Cody Stamann, he doesn't win. He's not been winning. He does have experience. He does have wrestling. But he can't find ways to win. It's like his style is just kind of gone out of fashion, almost. So give me Blackshear. He does have power in the hands. He did get knocked out badly. He got dusted by Montel Jackson. But I think he's going to win. Is he a minus 250? Probably not. But we'll see. Give me Blackshear. Moving into a matchup here between who we got. We've got Charles Radtke taking on Matt Semelsberger. And this is going to be another one where I'll make a pick, but I'm not going to make a bet. There's no bets here. Charles Radtke, he has got power. He has got good boxing. He got folded. He got dusted by Carlos Prates. But that's expected. You know, that's expected. Are you expected to get folded, to get dusted by Matt Semelsberger? I mean, you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. Because when you're looking at Matt Semelsberger, he's so inconsistent. Or should I say, consistently inconsistent. You know, at times, he's not landing his punches. At times, he's getting wrestled. His cardio's not great. You can kind of bully someone like Matt Semelsberger. And I kind of think that would be something that Charles Radtke would do. I think he's going to bully Matt Semelsberger. I could be wrong, though. Because Charles Radtke, only 9 wins, 4 losses, 2-1 in the UFC, coming off a nasty knockout loss. You could be wrong here. This is a tough fight. A good fight. But a low-level fight. And that's where I'm going to be passing. There's just no bets to be made. But I'm going to side with Charles Radtke. That's my pick. Moving into a matchup here between Mansur Abdul-Malik taking on Dusko Todorovic. And Dusko Todorovic has already fought in the UFC. But he's not fought since March 2023. And Mansur Abdul-Malik is going to be making his UFC debut. And when you're looking at Mansur Abdul-Malik on the contender, he dusted whoever he fought. I can't remember his name, but he dusted him, right? He took him to the ground and smashed him on the mat. And it's a nasty ground and pound stoppage. But then you're looking at the fight before it went to the ground, and it did look kind of competitive. The opponent did cause a little bit of trouble for Mansur Abdul-Malik, but ultimately the result is the fight's a stoppage. Then you're looking at Dusko Todorovic, who hasn't fought since March 2023, and when he did last fight, he fought Christian Leroy Duncan, and his knee went to Snap City. Hey guys, you don't want to go to Snap City. You want to go to MoneyCity. But Dusko Todorovic, he went to Snap City. And that's going to be a real challenge to come back from. You know, your knee snapped. And now you're fighting someone that's hungry. Someone that's, you know, just got a contract from the contender. And if you keep the fight on the feet, let's say Dusko Todorovic keeps this fight on the feet, keeps it kickboxing, then there's a chance. There's certainly a chance. But if Mansur Abdul-Malik gets this fight to the ground and he shows you that ferocious ground and pound, then the fight could be done. I'm going to side with Mansur Abdul-Malik. That's the pick. If you waited to smoke with me, amen. You've been smoking this whole time, double amen. If you're not a smoker but you enjoy the smoke breaks, that's always been a triple amen gang. Some of you will know that. Let's go. Now guys, I'm going to recap the whole of last card. And we don't really do recaps on my channel, but I'm going to do it in this smoke break. Now, Jamie Lynn Horth and Ivana Petrovic, I actually missed round one. I missed round one, but according to my Discord group, I think Jamie Lynn Horth won that round. No, Ivana Petrovic, she won that round. Then I caught round 2 and round 3, and Jamie Lynn Horth, it looked like she won those rounds. Now, Cody Gibson and Chad Anheliger, this was a mismatch, really. You know, Cody Gibson, he mauled him. It was dusteration. Chad Anheliger, he's tough. He's very tough. You know, good survival skills, but that was a mismatch. Cody Gibson mauled him. Then you're looking at Surrey City against Garrett Armfield. And guys, in my opinion, Garrett Armfield won. I think Garrett Armfield won this fight. But in round 1 and round 2, Garrett Armfield has a good start to round 1. He's winning the whole of round 1. And then the final minute and a half, it's like he gave round 1 away. And the same thing happens for round 2. He's winning the whole of round 2. And then you get to that final minute and a half, that final 2 minutes, and Surrey City, he starts to score. So those first 2 rounds, they're good rounds for Garrett Armfield, but they're not good finishes to the rounds. And the truth is, guys, when you have a good round, and the end of the round's not so good, the end of the round, you're the one getting dusted. The truth is, a lot of the time, the judges remember what happens right at the end. And some people may say, well, why make it 5 minutes then? Why make the rounds 5 minutes if the end of the round is the most important? It's just what they remember. You know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, Garrett Armfield did win. But what they remember is Surrey City taking round 1 at the end, taking round 2 at the end. And that's how he gets the win. Romanov against Rodrigo Nascimento. Rodrigo Nascimento, man. Takedown defense, it wasn't good. The cardio's not good. And Romanov, the guy's a fridge. He's a fridge. So if he gets those takedowns, he's going to win. And that's what happened. Then you're looking at Yusuf Salau, who got a stoppage against Jack Shaw. A submission stoppage. Unbelievable. Charles Jourdain also getting a submission stoppage against Victor Henry. Just unbelievable. Ayman Zahabi against Pedro Munoz. The jab of Zahabi. It was beautiful. It was money all night. Beautiful boxing work from Ayman Zahabi. Mike Malott and Trevin Giles. I thought this fight was kind of slow paced and maybe down to Trevin Giles not doing enough. Trevin Giles was trying to work behind the jab, similar to Ayman Zahabi, but there wasn't enough. There wasn't anywhere near enough. And Mike Malott kind of just, you know, got ahead on output. And Trevin Giles, you need to do more. I know your chin's dust. I know you're trying to fight smart, but you've got to do more. Dustin Stoltzfus getting a knockout against Marc-Andre Barrios. I mean, yeah, that was surprising. It truly was. I mean, if Dustin Stoltzfus was going to win that fight, submission, you know, not like a plus 900 TKO. But yeah, he starched, he dusted Marc-Andre. Jasmine Jasdavicius, she's too strong. She's too strong, you know? And that's what you pick, women's mixed martial arts. You pick the strength. Then you're looking at Brenton Ribeiro and Kyle Machado. This was a weird fight, very weird fight. Slow paced, and I kind of expected, you know, both of these guys to throw down a little bit more. But it's kind of like Kyle Machado didn't want to really experience the power of Brenton Ribeiro. And Brenton Ribeiro, being 0-2, he just kind of stayed composed. He just kind of, bide his time, stay patient, find the openings against Kyle Machado. Kyle's not doing too much. I think Kyle maybe won round 2, Brenton maybe won round 1, and then the final round is maybe a 10-10 in the final round, to be honest. Very weird fight, very slow-paced fight. Then Erin Nurmagomedov against Rose Namajunas, it went exactly how I said. If the fight stays on the feet, Rose Namajunas, she's a -500, she's a -600, and for the first 2 rounds, it stays on the feet. Then Erin Nurmagomedov eventually gets her to the mat, and once Rose Namajunas gets back to the feet, she seems more defeated. She seems more tired, more fatigued. And even round 4, the whole of round 4 actually stays on the feet. And Erin Blanchfield still wins that round. Then round 5, we go back to the mat, and that's where you get the 48-47 for Erin Nurmagomedov. Now in the main event, this was a mismatch. It was a pure mismatch. Brandon Moreno schooled Amir Albazi. And I kind of think even if Amir Albazi didn't have the injuries, didn't have the surgeries, I kind of feel the fight would have went the same way. I kind of feel that way. Watching that fight, it was a real mismatch. It really was. Brandon Moreno, he looked phenomenal. And I kind of watched that fight thinking, Brandon Moreno, where are you against Brandon Royval? Why are you kind of giving Brandon Royval that respect on the feet? But against Amir Albazi, there's no respect. It's domination. So yeah, that's my breakdown. That's my recap. And to finish the recap, I've got some killer weed right now, I'm not going to lie. Alright guys, let's go. Moving into a matchup here between Luana Pinheiro taking on Gillian Robertson. And guys, Gillian Robertson, her jiu-jitsu, her grappling is phenomenal. It's truly phenomenal. One of the best jiu-jitsu players in the UFC. However, if the fight stays on the feet, then in that situation there, she's kind of one-dimensional. Her striking is not really that good. Her boxing, her kickboxing, it's not that good. She's all about jiu-jitsu. She's all about grappling. And when she brings the opponent to the canvas, she's a mauler. Her jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. Now, if you're Luana Pinheiro, you've been dusted recently. You've truly been dusted. Now, your judo is good. But do you want to grapple with Gillian Robertson to try and win the fight? That's not how to win the fight. If you're fighting against someone like Gillian, you keep the fight on the feet. You keep the fight striking. Because if Gillian's able to use her jiu-jitsu, she's going to win that fight. She's going to win that fight most of the time. And her wrestling's not even that good. But once she brings you to the mat, once she finally gets you on the mat, she's almost like Erin Nurmagomedov. She's almost like Erin Blanchfield. The wrestling not too good. But once she finally gets you to the ground, that's where you see her elite level. And I kind of feel if you're Luana Pinheiro, you have to avoid the mat. The mat's lava. You know what I'm saying? Stay on the feet and just strike with Gillian Robertson. I'm actually going to side with Luana Pinheiro. I'm actually going to take the massive underdog. I probably won't bet it though. If she gets taken to the mat, if she gets taken to the canvas, then that could be fight done. That could be, fight over. Gillian's going to wrap her up, smoke her up like a blunt. So we'll see. I know a lot of people are going to side with Gillian Robertson, and it makes sense because her jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. But guys, if the fight stays on the feet, she's not -400. She's just not. So yeah, I'll side with a massive underdog pick. And it's women's mixed martial arts. Moving into a matchup here between Rienier De Ridder taking on Gerald Meerschaert. And this one's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because when you look at Rienier De Ridder, he's all about grappling. He's all about bringing the opponent to the canvas. Trying to find submissions, trying to ground and pound the opponent. Then you're looking at GM3, who in my opinion, he's like the American version of Paul Craig. The boxing's not good, the kicking's not good, the durability, the defense, the speed. There's not really much in the game of Paul Craig and GM3 that you like. The only thing that you enjoy in the game of, GM3 and Paul Craig is the only thing they're good at, and that's jiu-jitsu, it's grappling. Even looking at GM3's last fight, he's getting dusted by Edmund Shabazian. Edmund Shabazian basically won that fight. He basically stopped that fight. GM3 finds a way to bring himself back into the fight. He gets dropped. He's getting ground and pounded. And he finds a way to stay in the fight because the ref just lets him stay in the fight. You know, if he dies, he dies. That was the mentality of the ref. And he just finds a way to find a submission. So the submission prop for GM3, it's always live. It is always live. Same as Paul Craig. It doesn't matter who you're fighting. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. You know, it's always live. There's a chance it's going to win. But it kind of feels like you need to get lucky to cash a bet on GM3 because his boxing's not good. His defense ain't good. His footwork, his durability, his speed. There's so much wrong in the game of GM3. And he does find ways to win still because he's so experienced. There's even times where GM3, he'll try to wrestle the opponent, fail with his wrestling attempt, and then he'll end up in a bad position on the canvas. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened here against Rienier De Ridder. You know, GM3, he tries to shoot, fails with his takedown attempt, and Rienier De Ridder, he's working guillotine chokes, he's finding the back of GM3, and now we're getting more of a grappling match because both of these guys, they are grapplers, you know? And this fight should go to the canvas at some point. But who's going to be in control? I think it's going to be Rienier De Ridder. I might be wrong because it is a mirror match. And GM3, it almost feels like he's so lucky. It just feels like he shouldn't win fights. The same as Paul Craig. But he finds a way to win. And because of that, there is gamblers that are always going to bet on GM3 submission. They're always going to bet on GM3 money line. They're always going to do that. But for me, give me Rienier De Ridder. I just don't believe in GM3. I never have. And I never will. Moving into the next matchup, we've got Ricky Turcios taking on Bernado Sopaj. And guys, Bernado Sopaj, he got dusted in his UFC debut. However, prior to getting dusted, he was winning that fight. You know, he wins round 1. He wins the half of round 2. But then he gets tired. And as he gets tired, the Brazilian dude, Lockdog, he finds his way into that fight. He starts to find grappling control. He starts to find ground and pound on the canvas against Sopaj. And Sopaj does have good striking. He does have good grappling. But he's very inexperienced. You know, he's quite young. And obviously, when you've got a young fighter, the room for error is there. You know, they're going to make mistakes. And they're going to learn from their mistakes. Just like you do. Now, Bernado Sopaj, in my opinion, is a better grappler. And he is a better boxer than Ricky Turcios. But Ricky Turcios, his experience, you know, being in there with guys like Raul Rosas Jr. So guys, in my opinion, I do believe Ricky Turcios has the experience. You know, he can win the fight. But I think Bernado Sopaj, you know, his boxing, his jiu-jitsu, his grappling, it's all good. It's all very good. And you're seeing that in UFC debut. Yes, he got dusted, but you're seeing some positives. You still see some positives in the game of Bernado Sopaj. And I think we're going to see him again against someone like Ricky Turcios. So it seems to me that Bernado Sopaj, that's the pick. That's the play. But minus 250, it's kind of juiced. It really is. It's juiced. But yeah, that's the pick. Give me Bernado Sopaj. Moving into the next matchup, we've got Karolina Kowalkiewicz taking on Denise Gomes. And guys, here's the thing. Denise Gomes should win this fight. Because Karolina Kowalkiewicz, she's 40 years old. She's massively past her prime. The only reason she's still fighting is because she lacks money. She wants to go to MoneyCity. So do we. We all lack money. You know what I'm saying? And if you lack money, you're not going to bet on Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Because she's 40 years old. She's massively past her prime. She's slow. She's hittable. There's so many reasons that you don't want to bet or don't want to pick Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Now, guys, let's say that Karolina does win the fight. I'm not going to start saying, you know, she's on the way back. She's a tough veteran. She's, you know, scrappy. She's on the way back. I'm not going to start saying any of that. I think if you lose to Karolina, it says more about you than it does Karolina. Karolina's past her prime. She's old. She's slow. She's hittable. Denise Gomes, you have to win this fight. Because you're more in your prime. You're younger. You hit harder. And you're fighting to, you know, show the people you can be number one. You're fighting to improve your skills. Fight to fight. And Karolina's done that. She's lived that. She's past her prime. She's had her day. You shouldn't lose to Karolina. She's in there for money. And if you like money too, you should pick against her. You should bet against her. Denise Gomes, that's the pick. Moving into the main event, guys, we've got Magny taking on Carlos Prates. And guys, Carlos Prates, for those that don't know, this guy's a Muay Thai animal. He's an animal. And Magny, he's very, very old. So my prediction on this matchup is kind of easy. It's very easy to make. Guys, if you're Magny, how do you win? You know, you're not going to find a one-bomb knockout against Prates. You're not going to out-kick Prates. You're not going to outbox Prates because Prates, he'll find the button and the fight's done, you know. How does Neil Magny win? Do you push him against the fence and just win the fight based on control time? But even then, I just see Prates saying, look, if you want to clinch up, I'm all about Muay Thai. We can do Muay Thai here too. We don't have to just do Muay Thai in the middle of the octagon. We can do Muay Thai against the fence. We can do Muay Thai in the clinch, you know? And I kind of see Prates just dusting Neil Magny. How does Neil Magny win? I don't know. I can't tell you. He's not going to find a knockout. He's not going to outscore Prates. He's not going to out-grapple Prates because once he tries to clinch up, he's just going to get dusted in the clinch. Big knees in the clinch. Massive elbows in the clinch. There's potentially a knockout in the clinch. There's going to be a knockout in this fight, and it's going to be for Carlos Prates. He's going to dust the veteran, and that's the pick. How does Neil Magny win? He can't win. He shouldn't win. He doesn't win. Prates wins. That's the pick. Alright guys, let me know you're taking in the main event, the co-main event, your MoneyCity bets, your straight bets, your underdogs, all that good stuff. Drop in the comment section below. And if you want my bets personally on this card, patreon.com/UFCGA. I've only got one bet as things stand. And guys, I feel like the first bets I make on Patreon, like the first one and the second one, those ones hit way more than the ones I make on Friday and Saturday. I don't know if that's a real stat, but it feels like that. You know, Farid Basharat, Ilya Topuria, that was the first bet. It wins. Aaron Nurmagomedov, that was our first bet. It wins. Jourdain, that was our second bet. It wins. I feel like the first bets that I make, those are the best ones. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I've got to track that. But yeah, keep your eyes to the sky, never glued to your shoes. Peace.